Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Power Block episode 205. I'm your host, the enlightened and excited Eddie V. As you guys can see, our boss man Corey has found two work whistles and decided to use one of them to go on a vacation. So he's taking a break this week, but I have two special guests joining me. She's the celestial brush of Another Zelda Podcast and Ross Brush Games. And right, it's Celeste Rose.
Hey, good evening. I hope Corey did not warp to World 8 because that's a tough one if you're not prepared.
Yes. And joining us now, we already have a wise Wisconsinite, but we have another Wisconsinite. He is the whimsical Wisconsinite, Mr. Shane Kelley from Another Zelda Podcast. Also, hello, Shane.
Hey, everybody. How are you doing? Like I said, this is my first podcast, in this forum. So, kind of nervous, kind of excited. So, I'm looking forward to this whole thing. So.
Yes, how are you guys doing today?
I'm great. I just finished eating supper a little while ago. We had some Instant Pot ribs. Oh, very good. Good stuff. Good stuff. What about you guys? How are you guys doing?
I am doing good. I watched the Microsoft conference. Me and Jesse did a commentary, reactions to it. We had a little disagreements about something. Which we sometimes do, but we are excited for what Microsoft is bringing to Series X and what they're bringing to Game Pass. And we know a lot of people felt disappointed, upset, or anything like that. But I think this is what Microsoft needed to show that they got great games coming for their platform. The only problem that I kind of have with it is that they didn't have that it game. That me and Corey, like that important game that me and Corey had that dialogue a couple of weeks ago on Power Block. But when they find it, I think that's going to be the one to be like, now I need a Series X and stuff. Because I think what they got now is a great business plan and everything, and fantastic games rolling out. Because Dragon Quest 11S, that's a big game coming to Xbox. Like really, I mean, not as in length because that game is already huge, but it's great that Dragon Quest now is finally on all platforms. Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. And that's big. Dragon Quest was only for Nintendo, jumped to PlayStation, jumped back to Nintendo for the 3DS, and now it went back to Sony, but now it's open to everybody, even PC. So I think it's great that Microsoft is working to, have a better catalog and titles for everybody. Because and we're going to talk about this on Boss Rush Podcast, but like Everwild is beautiful, and this is a game from Rare.
Agreed.
And I was just like, if I took anything out of this showcase, it was that game and A Dusk Falls, because A Dusk Falls is pretty much Hotel Dusk with better graphics and a different story. I literally got that feeling, even though it don't have that paper look to it. Something about it screamed Hotel Dusk to me.
Oh, I looked this up. How beautiful! Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Everwild.
Yes,
yeah,
and
it looks great.
Oh, the trailer music is gorgeous. It's beautiful.
I haven't had a chance to watch Xbox yet.
I was gonna say it almost makes me want to buy an Xbox. Almost.
Almost.
Well, if you game on PC, you got Windows 10, it'll be there.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, because it was just it looks like it doesn't have any combat in it. But it's just like this nice, free-flowing, relaxing game, and I'm about magic and helping animals and stuff. And I'm like, if this is what this game is, and Rare could really deliver an experience that it has that fantasy of Nintendo or a Sony game, but it's not from them. Sometimes I always say sometimes imitation of another first-party company that make you have an idea of how their games feel. but it's actually from this particular company, and it feels like they got it right, you be like, got it. Because like I said, every time I talk about when I talk about the people who made The Last Guardian, I feel like this is Nintendo's company for some reason, and like Microsoft needs like a Nintendo or a Sony style company just for feeling when you're playing their game.
Absolutely.
So like I said, we will talk more about that on Boss Rush Podcast, because we got some housekeeping to get into. This is Nintendo Power Block, Boss Rush Games Nintendo Podcast. Every week, Edward, which is me, and Corey, and Celeste, and all of our friends from around the internet, come to you right here on twitch.tv/Boss Rush Games Live. Thursdays to talk about the latest news, rumors, releases, and your questions. If you can't join us live, no big deal. You can head on over to youtube.com/Boss Rush Games and podcast services on Tuesday mornings. Remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review us, and check out all of our content on bossrushgames.com. And this week, because Corey's not here, it is a recorded episode. So hopefully you guys have a great week, have a great weekend before you see this. And after you see this, have a great weekend. But Shane, you come from Another Zelda Podcast. Can you
Correct.
tell us a little bit about your role there?
Well, I think around the same time Celeste was asked to be on the podcast to write, I was as well. So we kind of around the same time joined, and we kind of formed a little family. I'm enjoying it a lot. I just write articles. In the past, I've wrote for Nintendo Enthusiast and a few other smaller companies. And we're trying to expand some of the stuff we do with Another Zelda Podcast, including possibly T-shirts and other things coming in the future. And of course, this year is a little hardship, but we should be able to do something hopefully by end of year next year, hopefully. So
This year's just thrown everybody for a loop.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Shane's the one who wrote the article I mentioned where it was a what if scenario, and if Zelda, Link, and Ganondorf received different parts of the Triforce.
Yes.
Correct.
And me, Celeste, and Corey discussed that.
I watched that whole thing.
You were like, "Oh, I heard my name."
Well, it was interesting because I was sitting there and I was listening to everyone's theories, and I enjoy that. But at the same time, I wanted to insert some stuff that, what if you turned it around and did this, or what if you added these elements to this, what you're saying? And I just was sitting there, come on, I want to say something, but I can't, But it was a really good podcast. That's the first one I think I listened from you guys, and that was with Celeste. So thank you, Celeste.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. No, that's a really cool idea, because it seems like a possibility, but I didn't really ever think about it until you brought that to my attention. And Ed believes, and Corey too, about the trilogy for the Switch.
Yes. I think Ed brought up something during that podcast about his theories on what Breath of the Wild, the sequel, will be. And I've thrown around in my head different ideas, and I think I'm going to write an article about it, but having the 3 Triforce pieces, and there being 3 mazes in the game, I believe that in those mazes, deeper within the maze, you'll find something more, and they'll include that in the game. And you'll find something in those mazes, and then you'll end up going back to where Link goes to get his hero's outfit, and there'll be something there to go deeper in there. And I think that would be a really cool idea, just to reuse the whole atmosphere.
Yeah, because I know for me, I was just like, what if? Because I'm like, Zelda started off with 7 I think it was 7 Triforce pieces.
8.
7 or 8. 8 Triforce pieces.
Which doesn't make sense, but okay. Make it 6, make it 9.
But that was the that was the like first three Zelda games in a sense.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then when Ocarina of Time came, it broke it off into a new story because those three fairies who made the Triforce was never part of the original Legend of Zelda
Mhm.
at the
Mhm.
time. And so when it made it's kind of felt like Ocarina of Time was the reboot of the whole series, and they stuck with that for the next following games, even up to
Mm-hmm.
Breath of the Wild, in a
Mhm.
sense. And then when we find out who got what power for the Triforce, it was just like that's very weird. What happened to the 8 Triforce pieces?
Mhm. Mhm.
You know, why
Yeah.
like why did it disappear in a sense?
Really
Did
good
they
super
bring that
group.
up with Wind Waker? Didn't you have to go find some Triforce shards in the ocean? Is
Ye-
that correct?
I believe yes, you did have to find some Triforce parts pieces. Yeah, but it wasn't at 8. I think it was 5.
I'm looking it up.
I
I,
know you did. I know you had to search because you had different maps on where the pieces were at. You had to
Mhm.
go there and you had to get them.
Yep.
But Zelda, Ganon, and Link had the Triforce for their powers. Is it courage, uh,
Wisdom and power.
and wisdom and power? Because Ganon has power.
Correct.
Uh, Zelda has wisdom, and Link has courage.
Mm-hmm.
there are 8 Triforce shards in the GameCube version.
Okay,
Okay.
so that would be in the Wii U version. Also should be. Um,
I imagine so. I don't know why they designated it as the unless it changed. I know they changed a few things like the tingle tuner from
Mm-hmm.
the GameCube because of course you can't connect a Game Boy Advance to the Wii U. I don't know if
mhm.
they hmm hmm
Come on, Nintendo, make things happen. I want to use that
um
Yes.
old tech.
Yes. So, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Nintendo because I posted you guys a question in the notes, and I cannot wait to hear your answers because this is going to be a really good discussion. But we're going to
oh,
get into some news bits. The Nintendo Direct Mini got announced Monday. It didn't happen, and so they announced 5 games, and one of them is Cadence of Hyrule, 3 DLC packs. The first one is going to be 5 new characters, which you guys can get now.
Mm-hmm.
The second pack is going to be 39 tracks added. And 3 is going to be additional story, Symphony of the Mask. And you also, if you guys don't own it right now, you could get a physical version of everything included October 23rd. What do you guys think? Definitely with you guys being Zelda fans, and I'm also a Zelda fans. Uh, what did you guys think of this announcement?
you go
Well,
first, Shane.
all right. Well, I actually was very interested because I have not bought this game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have the first one, um, and at that point when I bought it, my Joy-Con drift started, and I could not
Mm.
play it very well. So I had to wait about a month after I put in a new joystick and everything. Still was giving me problems, so then I bought a new one. And by that time, I'm like, something else is out. I'm going to play something else. Yes, I am interested in the whole Zelda aspect of this. Am I interested in the gameplay as much? Well, that's to be determined because I just had that issue with the joystick. Um, but I really do like physical copies, and I will most definitely be picking this up in October if I can get my hands on it. So,
Oh, I will be at the store buying this game physically. What about you, Celeste?
I've never played Cadence of Hyrule, but I've had some friends reach out to me, and even Carlos with Another Zelda Podcast mentioned it in one of his articles. It looks really cool, and I'm intrigued about Skull Kid, especially since he doesn't get a lot of limelight anymore. But I'm so bad at rhythm games. I have no rhythm. Ed, you would laugh at me if we were listening to pop
oh,
music in my vehicle and you watched me attempt to dance.
Oh no! If you're feeling, trust me, if you're feeling the music, dance
it'll lift
away.
that bad. I don't think it'd be laughing that bad. Or at least when you're not
Oh,
looking.
wow. Oh, thanks, Jay.
Well,
Polite.
well, everybody, if you follow me on Twitter, you kind of can see I have a bounce video where I was just in my car listening to some music, just bouncing. I literally was just feeling good that day, Celeste. I literally,
love it.
I got my pot belly, so I'm just like, you know what? Let me get on video, just bounce.
It
I
put me in
still
a
have-
good mood, Ed.
I still have rock band parties. Yeah, I've been
Oh.
having rock band
Yes.
parties since the first one, since college, and I've got over 500 tracks.
That's
And
awesome.
I play it on my PS4 all the time. Not this year, but usually I had 2 parties a year, and I'd let people. I'd toss on my credit card and I'd say buy a song, and you know, and then just enjoy it. So.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, I'm excited when that
When you can do it
pizza all
again.
night. Yeah.
I
I'm
know.
really excited to play that again. So.
If you two can convince me to get Cadence of Hyrule, that I can handle it, that I can maneuver around it, I will buy it because I like the music. I heard it in the Nintendo Direct and I thought, ooh, I'm missing out right now.
Hmm.
My convincing would be like wait for a sale, for digitally, unless something big comes in October and you and so unless something happens and you can't get it digitally, then just go get it physically and stuff. But I think it's one of those games that you just gotta pay attention and just hop along to the beat. Be like
You get
1, 2,
yeah.
3, da 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 da. So you might have
Do
to
you,
do some counting and stuff.
do you guys
Mhm.
think Limited Run or some other company will pick that up and do like a regular version and a special version, probably
No, no.
$40 and $60, or do you
Nintendo would
think?
do all. Nintendo
Oh,
would do all
okay,
of that. Nintendo is
okay,
not trusting limited run games to touch ounce
all right.
of their products.
That's
Mm-mm.
what I wasn't sure how they would handle that. So
No,
if Nintendo does it, then I probably am guaranteed a copy at least. So
yeah,
they're
Nintendo will handle production of that and be like, we're going to get this in stores because Nintendo has the power and ability to get it everywhere. Limited run can only get it in certain places, and mostly
sure.
right now that is at Best Buy. If they decided to put it in the stores, if they did Cadence of Hyrule, we probably won't even get that game until 2.5 months later, or even until next year, even though it was promised on the 23rd.
Wow.
Because yeah, limited run is good. It is good that they're selling the physical version, but they don't give you an actual timeline on when that game is going to be released.
Sure.
And so
Oh.
they could be like, oh, you pre-ordered this, we'll wait 2.5 months to get the stuff in production to send it, because that's why the Streets of Rage 4 problem happened. People who pre-ordered this game didn't get their physical copy the day it came out. Limited run was supposed to sit there a week or so ahead for everybody to get it. So when the game came out, people had the physical or the digital version. But because that wasn't happening, everybody had to go buy the digital version. And people who got the physical special collection editions didn't get theirs until May or June. That's what I was telling you, Celeste, that I just literally got my physical version, even though I already bought it on Switch.
Wow. Wow.
So
So do you guys personally, do you prefer digital, physical, or does it depend on the game?
I prefer physical. If it is only digital, I would get it there when it comes out. And when I play, if I really love it and enjoy it, then I will re-buy it and get the physical version.
Wow.
I'm the type of person that would double dip, because I know if I don't get that physical, I'm going to regret it and be like, if I don't get this physical version, someone else is going to have it, and then I'm going to be wanting to play. And if anything happens with my Switch and I got to buy a new one, I don't feel like dealing with anything that wasn't saved in the cloud at all. So at least with the physical, boop, load, okay, I can start playing.
That's my answer.
Yes, if you guys can't see it, Shane has a hefty collection of video games on his shelf behind him.
Yes.
Yeah,
Physical is
yeah.
what I like. So
Me too. Except for like indie games where they're like Ed was saying, if there's no choice, like
True.
but
Indie games I can
yeah.
go by getting a digital copy,
Mhm.
especially when there's a decent sale on it. They have tons of sales on those. So usually Nintendo does not. So I tend to try to get the physical anyways. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like with the indies and digital, like sometimes I see something and be like, I need to support them because this is the type of game, or this is the music that I like, or this is the art style, this is the game, and I would literally be like, oh, it's out Thursday, download,
Nice.
you know, uh, so. But they also showed off Road Company. The game is out. It's a third-person arena shooter. Question. uh,
It was random.
yeah, that is correct.
Yes. Next they showed off WWE Battleground, which looks fun. It looks better than WWE 2K20 from last year. That's
I
not a
have no
shade, but
doubt
that is
that
true.
it does. That plays way better.
Yes.
It reminds me of NFL Blitz. Just put big head mode and I love
Yeah.
that game.
It had a
It's a
THQ
good game.
kind of flair of wrestling, and
Mhm.
so it looked fun and everything. And then seeing the wrestlers playing it and everything, I'm just like, this is nice. This is gonna be fun for everybody.
So I have
Uh,
to ask, are you guys big wrestling fans, or were you when you were growing up?
I was back in the day. I was like Hulk Hogan,
Hmm.
Batista, um, just like a whole bunch of different John Cena, all of them. Um, I went to go see No Holds Bar uh, as a kid, and that is a wacky movie. did not did not did not realize that, but I was interested for a good 90s, and then in the 2000s I kind of fell out. My friend, he had SmackDown for PS2, so we would could create characters, and I would play SmackDown with them, um, and stuff. And yeah,
Oh,
at that
nice.
time I kind of fell out, but
I
uh,
I have I had some of the figures as a child. I had Jake the Snake, and I had Ultimate Warrior, and I had the whole ring that I got for Christmas one year. But I wasn't like a huge wrestling fan. I watched some wrestling in college because my roommate did, and then he got tickets to Raw when it was at the Resch Center in Green Bay, and I got to go see it for free. I think that was the night Trump actually was the host, and he paid for
uh,
everyone's tickets there. So, so I've seen Trump. Okay.
Wow.
yeah,
Got some freebie, got some swag.
Yeah,
exactly.
I got some free stuff there. Yeah.
Ah,
So, oh, go ahead.
gosh. I was just gonna say, I wasn't into wrestling, but I do remember the hype. I did play Saturday Night Slam Masters on the Super Nintendo.
Capcom, yes.
Yes. So I, I think this game will be pretty popular. Is wrestling still pretty big? Is it still?
It is with the Hispanic community. A lot of people, and there are some other people who watch it too. But it really grew big with the Hispanic community. With
Mm-hmm.
wrestling. So, it's still popular. It's still doing. People go buy tickets, watch the shows, do the pay-per-views. They still
Mhm.
support WWE.
Nice, nice.
When they, so, last but not least, they showed Shin Megami Tensei 3, Nocturnal, and Shin Megami Tensei 5, which is going to be coming out here in America in 2021, and it's going to be a worldwide release for Shin Megami Tensei 5. We have been waiting on this game since 2017 when they showed it at the Japanese conference, I think in February. And then they, like a year and a half later, they showed a little bit of an update, and then they went quiet. Nocturnal this is the HD's version that came out to PlayStation 2. But we didn't have it was just called Shin Megami Tensei Nocturnal. Then we didn't know that it was part 3. So those two games are coming out, and people cried. People lost all of their stuff.
Oh.
Because they're happy to see that the Shin Megami Tensei is getting these games. It's like getting this recognition, because Persona is such a big, Persona is a big face for Atlas here in America, and not the Shin Megami Tensei series.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. Oh, go ahead.
I haven't personally played it, so I wasn't. I'm not really sure what it's about, but I know what the last trailer was in 2017 when they first announced the Switch. So it's been a long time. So I'm happy for the people that are looking forward to it. So
yeah, and there's a video out there that I keep recommending. I'll probably post it on my Twitter page. That Shin Megami Tensei and Persona are two separate series. They share some of the same universe, but Persona is its own, because Persona came out on PlayStation 1. And then Shin Megami Tensei, I think it came to America, but I think it came on PS2 or DS, one of those systems. So a lot of people have been making the meme picture of your guy is dead. The guy that you know is dead is the big, huge guy with the brown hair and the red eyes and stuff. And people just been like making gifs and everything and pictures and memes and stuff. I'm just like, you gotta sometimes love the internet. They'll see one thing and they will literally just take it, make a picture, and it's a gif or a meme like within seconds.
Oh, I love that people are getting. I mean, what was the last game we talked about? Bakugan or something?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, even though I haven't played these series, I'm really happy because I know there are people who enjoy these series and they're getting their day. Every dog has its day.
So it's funny because I used to work at Toys R Us. That's where I met my wife, and we had a lot of.
Because I used to work I used to work at Toys R Us at Highland Park.
Oh, nice. Green Bay for me.
Okay.
But we had Bakugan tournaments, and they had the little spheres with you put on the magnet and they open up. I had a handful of those, and we have a prize box for my kid for when she uses the potty, and picked it out of the treasure chest and showed him how to use it, and it was just the day before that announcement, and it was just really interesting. I'm like, I thought this was a dead franchise, but here it is. So
you should play it with her.
I should.
Yes. So that was the Nintendo Direct Mini. I can't really give it a grade or anything because it literally was just mini. It was just some announced games. There was a Japanese one, so if you guys want to check that out, you can. They show different games and everything, and that one was, a lot of people feel like the Japanese one was better than the American one, but I'm like, they're games. Some of that stuff is gonna come over, some of it's not, and if you know Japanese, then you know how to get your Switch to play Japanese games on the eShop. So, but we're going to move on because there's a game-breaking bug in Paper Mario, and I'm like, what? So, this one stays coming from Nintendo Life. Some bugs are worse than others, while we're used to seeing the graphical or audio issues in our games. So, Paper Mario has a breaking game bug? Some bugs are worse than others, while we're used to seeing the graphical or audio issues in our games. These don't ordinarily render a game unwinnable, but it would seem that Paper Mario Origami King is set up with a design hiccup, which means you can't complete it. The issue, as detailed in the video on Nintendo Life, involves a section area in order to gain access to a secret fifth spot. The issue is that once the NPC guarding the entrance asks to see the membership card required to enter, it is removed from your inventory entirely. So if you exit the area for whatever reason, you can no longer gain access because you don't have the membership card, nor does the NPC remember taking it from you. It's also not possible to obtain a replacement. To make matters worse, this area is found towards the end of the game, and if you unwittingly save your progress after making this mistake, you have to restart the entire game from scratch, as it's not possible to roll back to earlier saves. As you as you can in Zelda Breath of the Wild. That means losing around 30 hours of progress. But that's not all. According to Gaming Reinvented, second game design issue exists which looks players out of attaining 100% completion. This one is present in the Sniff/Room City area, where if you turn off the water in the hotel and leave without freeing the toad, which is being used as a surfboard, it is impossible to liberate that toad later on in the game. While this isn't as dramatic an issue as you can still finish the game, you won't get that all-important 100% rating. We imagine that Nintendo will fix both of these problems pretty quickly, but let us know if you're falling for out of this design glitch by posting a comment below. And that's if you guys want to post that on Nintendo Life. But yeah, like I'm glad I know this, even though I'm not close to the end of the game yet. But what are you guys' thoughts?
I'm gonna scream if my game glitches out and I lose that many hours of progress.
This has happened to me, and I can remember two particular times where it was terrible. I played Fallout 3 on the PlayStation 3, and I went to every single location on the map, and then I started doing the more of the main storyline. Well, apparently, if you go to the garage where you do the simulation with the half-pint slasher kid, before you go to see Three Dog, when you go to the Jefferson building to meet your dad towards the end of the game, he tells you to go inside and to clear the building of super mutants. Well, you go in there and there's Enclave in there, and you take out the Enclave and you come out and he says, go in there and clear out the super mutants. You go in there and there's nothing in there. And I spent 120 hours playing that game and did not finish it.
Wow.
I then found out that I think Microsoft had an agreement with Bethesda to fix the bug on the PC and Xbox, but they did not fix it for the PlayStation. So I waited 6 months, and then I decided I would play it again and only do the main story quest. Well, I did that. The only thing is I missed out on like 2 trophies because it glitched, and I didn't get all the trophies, but I got the game completed, so I was happy.
God.
The other time was I played Skyward Sword, got to the I think it was the Ancient Cistern, so that'd be the 5th temple, I believe, and we were moving, so packed up the Wii, and then about a month later I turned it on. There's no save data.
That is my personal hell. Oh, I hate it. Or like if your memory card needs to be reformatted or something back in the GameCube. Oh my God. It was you almost lose the will to revisit those games.
Yep. Exactly. So I can feel people's pain if they got to this point and they tried to enjoy the spa experience and then weren't able to finish that game. So
complete opposite experience of what a spa is supposed to offer.
Maybe go to a spa in real life or something, just to pamper yourself to forget about it.
Yes, to ease your worries, some self-care. Now I know Ed picked up this game. Did you pick it up as well, Shane? I picked it up.
I did. Pre-ordered it, and I got the
That's true. That's true.
the pre-order bonus with the Mario pins. So
that's so cool.
But it didn't come till Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. So
yeah, I did see that. Now that this is jogging my memory, because you did post about how this is like the third, like multiple
I usually
times.
pre-order from Amazon, and I pre-ordered a bunch of games before they changed the policy where it wasn't like $12 off. So I still have Metroid Prime 4 sitting in there, so I'll still get $12 off that game when it comes out.
I stopped pre-ordering from Amazon because they keep sending my game late. Like they lost my Fire Emblem Collector's Edition, so I had to get refunded $100 for that, which in turn brought which brought Astral Chain and David X Astral Chain and another game. But those games came late also, and it was
Yeah, I
just
think.
like, what in the world is going on? And
Yeah.
every time I pre-ordered them for them, the games will always go 4 or 5 days later past
Yep. That's
past
what
the release date.
I was having too. I had pre-ordered Yoshi's Crafted World before the $12 went away. That came late. I believe my Pokemon Sword came late, and Link's Awakening also did come late. So I said enough. I decided I'd try GameStop, and it did not disappoint, and it gave me it 4 days later as well. So,
Ah, that sucks. Yeah.
but I
Oh.
just have so many games anyways. I think my running total right now is 410 games, not opened or
Mhm.
played. So
Wow.
So you haven't played Origami King yet,
I
huh?
have not. I haven't even
Okay.
played Color Splash. It's still in the plastic.
Cutter
Now,
Smash. Cutter Smash needs to come to Switch.
it's
Such
it's
a great game.
good.
I,
I
I want
I
I want to
agree with
try it.
you. I know people like to poo-poo on it, but it is fun. It is so
Yes.
fun.
So, for example, my wife had bought me Singularity for the PS3
Uh-huh.
10 years ago, Valentine's Day, this past Valentine's Day. And she told me she was not going to buy me another game until I played it. I actually opened it and played it. So I finally opened it and played it 3 months ago. Uh, and I beat it. And then I was complaining about not being able to play online with anybody. I don't know where they were.
10 years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder where they could be.
I've got older games than that I have not opened.
Oh
So
my gosh. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
I I I told Celeste this that I literally took vacation off to play Okami on PS2 because
nice.
Hmm.
nobody had it. I pre-ordered it from GameStop, which was 30 minutes from the place that I worked at because everybody wasn't like getting it. So I went to that GameStop, picked up my pre-order, and just took vacation to play that game. Because I was just like, if I don't play it now, it won't get played, and nobody was talking about it, and I was upset.
That's
Such a
one
good
of my top
game.
5 games. Love
Hmm.
Okami. So,
Yeah,
So
I
good.
think
So beautiful.
I
hmm
think let's see. I pre-ordered Metroid Prime from Sam Goody. I pre-ordered Okami HD,
Yep.
Xenoblade Chronicles for Wii. I pre-ordered Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, uh, and I pre-ordered oh Ori and Will of the Wisp, the
Okay.
collector's edition.
So I still have my Wii Xenoblade Chronicles in plastic. I still have my Xenoblade
Same,
Chronicles X for Wii U in plastic, and I have
same.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2 still in plastic. So I need to actually play the game um, and see what it's about instead of actually buying it and watch it sit there on the shelf. So
Why it's looking all purty and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
I have that situation with some games and a lot of books. Just sometimes other stuff catches your attention,
yeah.
or you keep replaying some of the same game.
Well, I think the big thing is now that I'm a father,
Hmm.
husband at work, I'm doing all this kind of stuff. Shorter games have become my friend, and
Hmm.
I try to spice in a bunch of really short games, and then I'll you know do one big game for a little bit, and then I'll kind of go back and do small games again. Just it is what it is, and I know I'd probably be playing a lot less if the Switch had not been invented. So
I know what you mean.
Yes.
As you get older, time is more and more valuable to you. So you're like,
hmm
how am I going to spend this evening? Do I want to play? Which is,
absolutely.
I tell Ed and Corey this all the time. If I'm in the middle of a stressful game, I tend to save it for the weekend so I don't get wound up before going to bed and having trouble sleeping. I like
hmm
nice, relaxing games during the week. I don't know
I
how Ed
agree.
does it because I see him posting at like I'll wake up at 5:30 or 6 and he posted something at like 2 in the morning about this very intense video game and I'm like, does this dude sleep? Oh my god.
So
Everybody is like that. They be like, Eddie,
yeah,
like, what are you? I'm just like, I I'm like, I'm playing this game. I can't help it. I'm getting through this. I'm
That's
playing this
okay.
stuff also.
I envy you. I envy that.
When you're single and you don't have kids, you make time.
No.
You make time for that. But we actually got one last story, and this is about Ubisoft Forward, part 2 taking place in September. A few weeks ago, third-party video game giant Ubisoft hosted its third E3 style showcase titled Ubisoft Forward. During the event, the company revealed it would be hosting another broadcast in the near future. According to the update from Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, the second event will take place at some point in September. No exact date has been provided as of yet. While there wasn't much focus on the Nintendo Switch during the first broadcast, there were at least a few announcements tied to Just Dance 2020, Trials Rising, and Brawlhalla. You could, and if you guys on Nintendo Life, you guys could read more about that. The next show promises to include more game news and updates, so we'll be keeping an eye out for anything Switch related. Hopefully, we can finally see some more footage of games like Gods and Monsters. And there's a possibility we may see Mario and Rabbids 2. Who knows? But are you guys going to be watching it? Even with the controversy that's going on with Ubisoft, would you guys still watch to see what they have to announce?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm really bad at catching things live, so I'll probably read some articles or talk to somebody. I do like the Just Dance games. They're really fun with people, like how you guys talked about Rock Band. Shane talked about that. I like Just Dance. And I got to bounce like Ed sometimes.
I've got a video at was it E3 2016 with the dancing carrot because I was on the show floor for when they were playing the Just Dance 2017. So it was interesting. I got it all on my old camera, I think.
Oh God, dancing. Well, I don't dress like a carrot. I hate to disappoint you. I don't know. I haven't played Mario and Rabbids, but everyone tells me it is so fun.
Yeah, it is. I have to finish that game. I'm gonna have to start probably from the beginning.
Is it hard? Is it one of those difficult games?
It's a tactics.
Take this one. Yeah, once you get the basics, you'll start making your moves and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not too hard.
Are you guys looking forward to the Ubisoft Forward, or is it just kind of like meh?
I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch it because I want to see what Ubisoft has to show. And of course for podcast reasons I have to do it. But I really want to see if who are they supporting more of? Is it still back to the Xbox and PS games, or are they really going to bring some like new titles and some stuff to Nintendo? Because I feel like as you hear stories of the Switch selling, people buying games for Switch, it seems that they still don't want to support the system, and that's the trouble that EA got into with their last press conference, is that you announce 7 games coming to Switch, but you don't tell them what it is, and it's just really like you threw it away just to let people who play Nintendo games, oh yeah, we're going to support Nintendo, but we're actually focusing on this, and Ubisoft is getting to that point. Ubisoft is doing the same thing.
I feel Ubisoft likes to be on top of things when new things come out, like Stadia. I think they supported Stadia, and I feel like they see someone we got to get with these guys, and we can ease up because we've already got a certain partnership with this company. But then it does seem like it's lacking on that end when they start putting their stuff on a different platform. So it's good business, but it also is good business to keep the current people happy. So
yes.
Yeah.
So well, everybody, that is our news bits. So
I do have something else that you might have missed. I did see that they have Pokken Tournament DX for free on the Switch.
Yes.
From the 7/29 to 8/4. So you can download it and you can play the entire game for free for 7 days.
I still have my Wii U version, so I may just do this.
Okay.
See how the Switch version goes.
Is it like Pokemon Stadium?
No, it's a fighting game.
It's like Tekken with Pokemon.
Oh, stop it. That's why it's called Pokken.
Yeah.
That's cute. That's really cute.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that, Shane. I
Yeah,
appreciate
no
it.
problem.
Well, that's the
There we
news,
go.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of a quiet week this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, well, we have a little game for Shane. We sent something to him. I sent him something to read, and I was wondering if he could guess this game. So I'm going to read it again, and we're going to see if Shane could guess this. So it goes like this: A wind blows cautiously. It knows what work must be done with no guarantee of what the payment it will receive once it has completed its task at hand. As it clocks in, it realizes the other departments have an uncertainty to their future. The place is tense, uneasy, yet focused. What has brought this unannounced meeting to the employee? Since silence has no place to rest its head, there are eyes that speak the language. Not knowing what is being said, the wind gently increases its sound, which gives sign to the employees that there must also make noise. As things increase, movement is made, one on the left and the other on the right, swiftly push forward to each other with mental capacity of destruction or survival. The wind is doing its best to make decisions, but it's too late. Two figures meet each other with equal force and make their vote in a quick flash. Swing as time frees. The figures come to a stop as they land on the ground. The wind and all other departments freeze. They witness what happens next and leave to collect that day's pay. One figure falls in the background, while the other stands victorious. In seconds, you realize something unexpected and captivating happened in a video game. Something you wouldn't know that it was possible to be executed, while something so eye-opening and odd was a highlight of a game that was completely different than any game you acquired on the Nintendo Entertainment System. So Shane, what game do you think it is?
Well, so I've been racking my brain around this all day. I even sent it to my best friend, saying, "Hey, what do you think this is? I've been thinking about this all day." He thought it was something that was Japanese translated. So he told me I should put it back in Japanese and see if I can figure out what game it was.
Sorry for the grammar. This is
so-
something that's pre-written, so it'll be fixed.
Yeah, it was a long day me trying to figure it out. And my first guess was Balloon Fight or Excite Bike, but my guess is going to be Ninja Gaiden.
Yes, that is correct.
And what's funny is I've never played this game. I spent all day looking at NES trailers and trying to put these words to the trailer. And finally, after watching Ninja Gaiden at three different points today, I read the whole two figures left and right coming toward each other, and then swing, freeze, and I'm like, this is the scene. This is the scene, and I'm like, I'll be proud if I get this. So I'm very happy that that's the game.
See, Ed did a great job capturing
Oh,
it
you
in
did.
words.
You did.
I'm going to clean that up and rewrite it, and so that's hopefully you can edit that.
I was like the whole first sentence.
That's powerful.
It's
Very
like
powerful.
employees. I'm like, is this a punch clock? Are they outside and they're racing? Is it? I tried all these
And see,
different
the
things.
thing about it, it's the moon, it's the grass, it's the paralyzing,
Yeah. And I saw in the trailer, they're standing here and here, and the grass is just moving. And at first, it doesn't look like grass moving, but if you look at it closer, you realize they're in a field.
Yeah.
Moon's behind them. I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense. But then as I'm going through, I saw, parallels to every single thing. And I'm like, if this isn't it, it better not be Ninja Gaiden 2 or Ninja Gaiden 3.
Well, I guessed 2 at first because that's the only one I played. But then
yeah, I've never played it, so I looked up all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailers. I looked up Contra. I looked up Castlevania. I put top 30 best intros to Ness. I watched every single one while sitting in the parking lot at the store.
Ed, you've made him a madman.
Today was productive. I'll give you that. I went to the zoo, went and shot some rockets out in the field with my brother, and I cooked out, and I was still able to figure out that this was Ninja Gaiden. So,
yes.
Good day.
Well, I applaud you because Ed was like, don't say anything, Celeste. Don't say anything.
And my biggest fear was, this is a game I have not played, and I need to find out what it is, and I'm going to have to purchase it and buy it and play it, because that's an excellent riddle there. So thank you, Ed.
Okay, so and the thing that people will probably get after I clean it up and stuff is the swing part, because that is the pivotal moment that they jump, and it's just like swing, because you hear that 8-bit like they're hitting the swords, and then when they drop down, the music changes and everything, and so it's like they're capturing this 80s like ninja vibe and stuff. And Ninja Gaiden for the arcade is completely different than what's on the NES, because it was an automatic beat 'em up where the automatic scroll and you beat characters up. But the NES version was like a reskinned version of Castlevania in a sense.
Okay.
And so that intro was just something cinematic that you've never seen in a game. And if you was a kid during that time, you would be like, what is this? How do you start a game off and everything? Because and then when people read it, because by the time people hear this and actually read the blog, it'll be some time difference, so they'll see some changes. There's a shot in there where Ryu Hayabusa, who is the main character, he gets shot. His while the cutscene, there's 2 black lines across their eyes, and it goes gray because he gets shot, and then it fades out, and then it goes into the next act. So they treated this game as like it was a ninja movie from the 80s. And you've never seen a game done in, definitely for an 8-bit, done in the cinematic style. But when you look at it, you think of the techniques and why I'm starting this video games. Why I'm starting off, if I'm talking about stuff being technical, this is the leading game to do it. Because no other game has done something like this before.
Okay. Yeah, and when I read Schwing, immediately I looked up Wayne's World, and I'm like, that's not even an NES game, it's a Super NES game. I'm like, I literally looked at probably 50 plus games today trying to figure out what it was. I looked at Bart versus the world, Bart versus the space mutants, and everything just I could think of that might have some kind of combat in it, as the hint was given, and I'm glad I finally found this out at 6:30, maybe right before this. I wrote it down. I said, my guess is Ninja Gaiden. ...
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Oh yeah, it was I was like, oh my gosh, I had your fear too, Shane, that I hadn't played this game and I was gonna make a fool of myself.
Right. And I sent it to you, Celeste, to actually not edit or anything, but just like read this and see if you could figure it out. Because if I could get the point across, I could go back in and fix some things. I'm definitely gonna go back and fix it. Just reading it, the grammar is just a mess. To give it some, like, punch it up and stuff, I'm like, can people read this and understand what game it is? And if they can get, because the answers are actually going to be in the future paragraph, and I'm going to break everything down. But I'm just like, I want people to read this, get the vision, and be like, oh, I know what he's talking about.
And
now
you did
I know.
a great job, because not playing this game, I was able to figure it out by watching the trailer. So
I just have one request. I want Corey to Photoshop Garth and Wayne onto the characters from Ninja Gaiden because of Schwing.
that'd be awesome.
I don't know.
Party on, Ryu.
Party on. Ciao.
Exactly.
Oh
So,
man.
so congratulations, Shane.
Thank you.
On that. I may have to do a little bit more of that sometimes. Just like really write a good description to a game and like put it out there. Because I was thinking of doing Mega Man 2, but I'm like, they would get that because Mega Man 2 is too easy to do.
I've never
So
played Mega Man, so I would have failed.
Well,
I heard
that's
that's a
okay.
good series.
Mega Man X
It
is
is.
still my favorite. I've played that probably 30 times. So
yes, which Mega Man 2? Is it Mega Man? If it's, I think so. One of them is just like when you defeat the robot masters, the land changes. I think it's Mega Man. It may be 2 or 3, but like if you
it's one of
defeat a
those
boss,
two.
yeah, if you
Um,
defeat a boss, when you go to another world, what was opposite of that boss, it'll turn into snow. It'll turn into some element. Because I think there's one that if you defeat a flame, a fire boss, yeah, actually it is Mega Man, because I think it's like when you beat it, the electricity is off or it turns to snow or something like that. It's very weird. It's like
yeah.
they was doing it where if you destroy a boss, another environment is affected with that.
hmm
So, but we're going to get into our final portion of the show, and this is a good discussion. Why Nintendo artwork for their games, for their works are fitting. So, like when you see a particular title or something, and the artwork that they chose for it, it looks very good, and it just fits that world, fits the action those games. So definitely, we talked about Paper Mario, and having that paper aesthetic really fits so well. And over the years, it just keep evolving. So now we have like Origami King, where it's this artistic paper versus this Japanese style of art. And why does it work so well?
For that particular game or just in general?
In general, I would just use that for an example.
Okay. I think it definitely opens up the possibility for types of interactions. You can really ham up your battle system. What kind of ambiance do you want to create? Of course, the most popular one I can think of is with GameCube and Wind Waker, how some people were disappointed because they wanted a very realistic Zelda. But I remember a friend and I at the time when that game came out, he told me that the creators wanted the game to feel as though you were exploring through the eyes of a child, which that version of Link, that incarnation, is a child. He's 12 years old. And I've come to really love that art style. It's fun. It's different. I associate it with water because of that
Yes.
game. I think it's beautiful. I think it is absolutely perfect in its way. I mean, darker games like Twilight Princess are beautiful, and that's my favorite Zelda game. But we see that style across many different platforms as well. Oh gosh, what's another? Okami, like we were talking about earlier, that's like a Japanese painting. That's gorgeous. And then Skyward
Oh, yeah.
Sword looks like impressionist art.
Yes.
That's gorgeous. Oh gosh.
Because I heard they wanted to merge the cartoonish style with the more serious type of aesthetic from Twilight
Yeah.
Princess. So they merged the two, kind of giving it a brushed, like watercolor type look to it, and I think it turned out really nice. So
Yeah.
Kirby's Epic Yarn was like a great decision, and then when they brought it to Yoshi's Crafted World, like when they brought it to the Yoshi's Crafted World, it's gorgeous, it's breathtaking. Like it was I think what was it was it last year or the
2
year?
years ago, maybe.
It may have been, yeah, it may have been 2 years ago. It literally was my game of the year because playing that game, going through the bosses, seeing that level in the bathtub, I was just like, this is amazing. Like the way they use all these different crafts to design that world, you are stuck and you're just like, good night, this is gorgeous. Like I kind of feel like nothing on Xbox or PS4 touch what this creativity was. Like, I will put Craft the World over God of War in an instant, because it is so, people are going to disagree and maybe upset about that comment, but I'm like, this stands out because no one else is doing this.
Yes.
And it's just like Nintendo was able to make a world out of these cookie cutter little things and everything. Like, you look at the world and you're like, it's beautiful one side, but it makes you laugh when you switch it and you actually see how it was designed on the other.
Yes, I did love that game. It just, some of those bosses and the level creation is amazing. I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it because it had, low, visuals, but I did not have any problem with it. It was really good. So,
You know that you're making me think a lot, Ed. Over the years, I've noticed, this is just a generalization. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I've noticed for Xbox, PC, and PlayStation, they try to look as realistic as possible, which is awesome. I love realistic looking games. But Nintendo, I find, tries to be a little different usually with their games. I mean, like, okay, for example, Resident Evil 2 remake, that would not have the same horror effect if they made it like Kirby's Epic Yarn. I mean, it would be a different approach. It would be a different atmosphere. I don't know. Can you guys think of some recent game? Okay, so Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild are, I don't want to say more refined, but are they more, I don't know, realistic? Is sharper graphics?
They have more of a cartoony 3D world. So something close to like Ratchet and Clank, some Insomniac kind of thing, or even Super Mario Sunshine, but a little bit more refined. Even if you look at Super Mario 3D World, it had, with the cats and everything and the cherries and stuff, like, it has this cartoony aesthetic to it, but it's not super detailed, but it just has a balanced look to it. Like, everything, all the colors and stuff work to it in this 3D world.
Yeah.
So it's simple. Oh, go ahead, Shay.
I was going to say, I agree. And I feel like if they did a realistic Mario, I don't think I'd like it. Just giving him a gruffy face with mustache and maybe a toothpick in his mouth, and he's, walking the streets with a trench coat looking for pipes to fix. Yeah, I don't know how I'd like that. It'd be like Grand Theft Auto Mario, and
my God, it would be like the movie come to video game.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd like that.
Oh my God.
If they did something like that, I think I would be totally interested in it. But I think Mario has its place in certain art styles, and until I can see a actual gameplay demo of a realistic Mario and like say you even tossed Mario into the Breath of the Wild universe, putting pipes everywhere, question mark box, where you could go anywhere in there, I think that would be really cool. And just having that would be, I think, mind-blowing. But just like a Ghost of Tsushima Mario game just doesn't sound right to me. I don't know.
My gosh.
But something like Metroid, in a sense, has to have a serious tone, because it's such a sci-fi kind of thriller to it. And I know there's been iterations with it being pixel and 3D and in first person, having this like kind of 3D world and environment, but they take so much care with the Prime series. Like, if you look at Metroid Prime on Nintendo GameCube, the water effects that falls on her mask and just like the mist and the drops and stuff, it was just like Retro really thought about everything. And Nintendo kind of paid attention to it, the details, to be like, don't have this happen, make make this be the result, because if you're going to be in this world and you're going through a waterfall, you just don't want to be like, oh, I went through a waterfall and it looked like nothing went on the outfit and stuff. Really pay attention to detail. And I think when it comes to 3D games, with that, they want their developers to pay attention, unless they're paying for the production. Because if you look at Astral Chain, Platinum Games have their different aesthetics in their action and their artwork and stuff. But Nintendo knows, in my opinion, Nintendo looks at it and be like, this could be a little bit better if you guys did this and clean it up. Okay, go ahead and make the game that you want. And they look at their art style and be like, wow, you guys really did something. Because with like Platinum, like if they could blow Nintendo's minds with their art and everything, they're blowing us. Bayonetta 2 looks crazy good to be on Wii U. From the start of her beating up angels to on that plane to going into hell and just seeing that darkness and stuff, it's just like, wow, why this game looks gorgeous on every level. Of course the combat is fun and stuff and everything, and it's funny, but like they got the cutscenes looking good. They got just the design, like the lighting and everything. Even when she's like on the surfboard and the river is like in the curl and she's surfboarding and dodging and stuff. It's just like all of this works, and this artwork is beautiful.
So this brings up a question. What, I guess, in your opinion, what was Nintendo's best console for art? Like, what was your favorite console for games in certain art styles, or that had the most games that you enjoyed based on aesthetic?
It would have to be Wii U.
Okay.
And the reason why Wii U does it is Pikmin 3.
That was a beautiful game.
As much I would have gave it to GameCube and Super Mario Sunshine, Pikmin 3 is ridiculous. Yeah. You literally you press start and you see the clear of the water. You see the rocks. You see this environment. And it was just like, wait a minute. What are y'all doing? I don't want to play this game. I want to look at this. This literally looked like this is in 4K, but you're not doing 4K. This is gorgeous. This is phenomenal. This is fantastic. It made me sit down before I even put 10 minutes into the game and the gameplay and started all over. I put my gamepad down and just stared and was just like, who is doing this? Who is the art team at Nintendo to do this?
Yeah.
On a 1080. It's just like, what did Nintendo do with HD? Like, why is this ridiculous? Yes, we have Sony and Xbox doing it, but no one is touching Nintendo with Pikmin 3. And it still looks gorgeous if you put it on TV right now. And I guess it was just like Yoshi's Woolly World, Pikmin 3, Super Mario 3D World.
3D World, I remember looking at that water.
Yes.
And be like, wow, yeah, I can tell the difference, from the Wii to Wii U, most definitely here. So,
Bayonetta 2, Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD. Even though those are GameCube games, the HD remaster makes the game look even beautiful. When me and Celeste, we were talking about the spinner and that dungeon and stuff. Even when you get to the last dungeon, and you are like in that wind, that wind one is just a mess of a dungeon. But you look at it, you like, goodness, this thing is big, but it's gorgeous. And it was just something about Nintendo and HD that just made it feel like no one is touching y'all at all. Everything else that's going to be on their system is going to look dated, and everything that you see on the Wii U, if you put it on the big screen TV, it looks beautiful. It looks consistent. You wouldn't even tell that this thing is 7 or 8 years old. This looks phenomenal. I was about to say fantastic, but phenomenal. So I would definitely have to give it to Wii U without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, what are you, Celeste?
Oh gosh, this is difficult. I remember being blown away by the Donkey Kong Country series for
Oh,
the Super
yeah.
Nintendo when I saw that. I mean, compared to graphics now, it
Hmm.
I don't I mean, I don't know if saying it didn't age well. I mean, it's still cool. I thought it was
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. I loved it. I did love the 16-bit era a
Okay.
lot. Oh gosh, I guess it really goes back to depending on the game. If it's meant to be serious, like Ed was saying, like something like Metroid or Resident Evil or Eternal Darkness or Hitman,
Sure.
Mafia, something like that, you want it to look more serious. Like I can't imagine playing Red Dead Redemption with the Wind Waker graphics.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cell shading. Oh gosh, I have to pick my favorite system. Oh gosh. I don't know.
You don't. I guess you don't necessarily have to pick your favorite system. You could say uh, art styles that you really enjoyed. Like a lot of them were on this system, or a lot of them happen to be, in this time period. For me, you can think about it. I enjoyed the GameCube a lot. I
Hmm.
had a ton of fun with that. The Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, um, Star Fox Adventures. What a beautiful
Hmm.
game!
Hmm.
Beautiful music. Um, but
The gameplay was garbage though.
oh, yes, I didn't enjoy the gameplay as much, but just the music and playing
Yes.
Star Fox for the first time on the ground was really interesting to me. Um,
The funny thing with GameCube is you had Eternal Darkness and Metal Gear Solid Twin
yeah,
Snakes.
yes,
Twin Snakes revitalized what Metal Gear has been because they
sure.
took Twin Snakes and still to this very day, that's what the Metal Gear series has been after Twin
Mhm.
Snakes.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I haven't played too many Metal Gear, more of the later ones, but yeah,
Mm.
I that was one I skipped, but I did hear that it was groundbreaking. Um, but there are a few games that I don't know if
Oh,
you guys played
uh,
Geist before. That
guys, Mario
Geist,
Kart Double Dash.
yeah. Um,
Oh, Double Dash.
there is a third party game that really is kind of second party now. It's Monolith Soft's game with Bandai Namco, the Bat and Kaitos series. I
Yes,
really enjoy the art style in there. I don't know if you guys played that, but that had magnificent art
I
style.
it's one of the series that they did not
Oh,
sell in my area. Best
oh,
Buy,
I'm
Target,
sorry.
GameStop, none of them carried it
Should have
at
told me.
all.
I had two copies at one point. I had it bought it at Target, went over to Toys R Us, saw that it came with the free soundtrack, immediately bought that, went back to Target and returned the other copy. So,
Wow.
and then I bought Origins 2 years later. Also, I really enjoyed Tales of Symphonia on there.
Tells us if
Man,
wow, I
Resident
love that
Evil
game.
4. Just there's
Mm-hmm.
so many. I'm just looking at my stuff here. Soul Calibur 2, man, with
Soul
Link.
Calibur 2.
Even
Yes.
Fantasy Star Online 1 and 2.
Soul Calibur 2 was the fighting game during out of any as me and Celeste talk about Bloody War on PS1 and some other systems, Soul Calibur 2 was the 3D game that you needed to have. And if you was going to have it, it needed to be on the GameCube. And
Absolutely.
everybody was mad that GameCube didn't get Soul Calibur 3. They was literally robbed when 2
We got
sold the most out of everybody.
didn't we get Soul Calibur Legends or something for the Wii? It
We
wasn't
got
that good
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, we got that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you listened to the it'll be season 3, episode 3, I believe. Me and David on Another Zelda Podcast, we talked about Soul Calibur 2, and I bought it in it 3 times. I bought it for myself on the GameCube, and I
Mhm.
went over to my friend's house. He had an Xbox, so I purchased it so we could play as Spawn, and then I bought it again at my other friend's house for PlayStation 2, so we could play as Hayachi. So I bought it
Yes.
3 times, and we played all 3 versions. I
And
usually won, so that's all
yeah,
that matters.
I played Link in there doing the adventure in the game. They're just
Mhm.
like, this is the best game of all time.
Oh,
When
I'm
it comes to
telling you, I got it because of Link. I pre-ordered it. I
Mhm.
had the lithograph, the art book. I'm gonna have to go with what you said about the GameCube, Shane. I was thinking about that and Wii U. I was even thinking about Switch and how Animal Crossing, New
Oh yeah,
Horizons
Animal Crossing on
graphics.
there. was awesome.
especially when you compare it to the original one on GameCube.
Yep.
But Soul Calibur 2, I started thinking about it.
Mario Strike.
Mario Strike. That cover for Soul Calibur 2 is still one of the best fighting covers of all time.
So good.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
Look, I had a crush on Link when I was younger. I'm not going to deny it. I thought he was.
I also
cute.
enjoyed Skies of Arcadia Legends. That was another good one. They had so many good RPGs on there too. So that's another.
Yeah, Skies
nice.
of Arcadia. Atari published Ikaruga. I keep bringing that up, but I got
Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it on GameCube, and I'm mad. I did not like that final boss because they inverted controls. It was hard to figure out. I literally had to try to turn my controls upside down because you couldn't change it. He changed your controls, and I was just like, "This sucks."
I haven't even beaten the game yet. It's hard.
It is hard. I beat it, but I don't like games that usually have cameras in them and you're required to use them. I like where you have photo mode and all that, but a lot of times when they're like, well, you got to use this camera to do this, that and any kind of timed thing really turned me off to a game. That's why I have not finished Majora's Mask, and I need to do that. You too?
Well, we're gonna have to get you both to complete it and do an episode on Majora's Mask for Zelda.
I need a different 3DS with the joystick. I can't turn the camera.
Majora's Mask is not a bad game. It's just that because I grew up adventuring everywhere in Zelda, I cannot have no time limit.
Yeah.
That was the only problem. I could not handle that. I was just like, I refuse. Only got 3 days. I know how this time mechanic work. No, Nintendo.
You can slow down time.
It's longer than a weekend.
It's I always slow down time, but I can see how it's frustrating. I will say, Shane, not to spoil it for you, Ed can attest to this. The new battle mechanic for Paper Mario is there's some time stuff on it. I'm sure you're aware.
That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. It's more of I am restricted and I have to do something in this time, whereas battling, giving me 30 seconds to do whatever doesn't really affect me. I know it's going to be over in 30 seconds. It's like a shot. It's painless for the most part. But I think just the whole knowing in my head that I'm being timed. It's like I have a 3-day vacation and I know I have to go back on Tuesday now, and that's I think my big thing. That, like playing Super Mario Sunshine when they had the races with the Mario.
When it's the
paintbrush, I didn't enjoy those.
I love those, and I used to. The thing about it is just like this is Sonic 3D. Sonic 3D meets Mega Man platforming skills, and you have to be literally skilled enough to do it. If you cannot do it, go play Jack and Daxter or go play some Insomniac game and get that time skill up, because those games will test you. Even Spyro the Dragon will test you with time stuff. But if you are skilled enough in that, you could get through those Mario sections.
What's interesting is I've never played a Spyro game. I've never played a Crash Bandicoot game except for the Crash Bandicoot game on Uncharted 4. I don't know if you guys played that, but you actually play the PS1 on there and play Crash. I don't even know. I don't actually know if it's the actual level, but I'm assuming it is, like the first level or something like that. But that's the only time I've played Crash. I keep hearing from people, you got to play these, and I got to just buy the collection or something for the Switch and play it, because I know I'm missing out. I really am.
So many games, so little time, y'all.
Yeah, for sure. I keep looking at the wall here and just like, oh, this is disappointing. There's so many games that are just in plastic that I wish I would have played. Or even like ones I bought used that I didn't play, and I don't know if they work. So
You just need to reach out longingly, and we're going to have some very sad, dramatic music play in the background as you reach to your video. Like, well, some Enya or Yanni or something.
Yeah, wow. First gonna be like, yeah, Yana. So, well, everybody, that has been our discussion. But we would love to hear from you guys. What art styles from Nintendo work so well with their games? And adding your question, Shane. What system had the best art? You guys can email us at bossfrenchgamespro@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at PowBlock or Pow_block. I think that's it. I do apologize. We'll get the plugs and everything later. But Shane, where can we find you at?
Well, I'm mostly on Twitter at Still Sane Shane, so spelled as it sounds. Another Zelda podcast. Basically, you can read articles that I've written and other people have written, and listen to the podcast.
Yes. Celeste, where can we find you at?
Louisiana. But virtually, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at FairyCrypt, and also with AnotherZeldaPodcast.com, Another Zelda Pod on Twitter. And they also have an Instagram as well. I think it's just Another Zelda Podcast. But Shane wrote an article about Link and his earrings that I thought was really cool. Yes, so
please read.
Yes, take a deep dive into that.
Yes.
Yes. You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatVentureCode. You can check out Option Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps. I will be getting back to doing regular episodes. The video games is coming up in a couple of weeks. You guys will be able to read that in September and hear the podcast. It is in pre-production, so you guys kind of got a little taste with the Ninja Gaiden stuff, but you gotta read it to understand why it is the leading story of this project. And with that, everybody, have a great week, have a great weekend, and as always, let's all continue to play video games and be better to one another. And with that, everybody, we'll see you next time on Nintendo PowBlock. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Shane.
Yep, thank you guys.